Thank you so much for stopping by and clicking on an episode of Side Flick. Let me give you some movie news. Some of the things we'll be discussing here today, guys, is to no one's surprise, another dead character in the Scream franchise is coming back for Scream 7. We got the Russo brothers basically letting us know the runtime of the next two Avenger movies. And the scooper responsible for the Shrek trailer being released early now gave us more clear details on the plot of the movie. Oh, we're going to be diving into that along so much more, but you guys know the drill. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. In fact, really hit that subscribe button, man. I'd like to make it over the 600K mark. So grab your nana, steal your dad's account, look at his history and make sure he's not a secret serial killer, and then subscribe to 3C Films. How do you know if he's a serial killer? Is he watching barbecue and lawn care videos? I imagine that's what dads watch. I don't know what fathers watch. What does your father watch? Let me know what you find in his history. All right, kicking things off, we got announced the writers for the upcoming Monopoly movie. Deadline here has reported that Monopoly movie lands John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein as writers. Now, these names might not be too familiar, but you've definitely probably have seen something that they've written or directed. The pair are responsible for the screenplay on Spider-Man Homecoming, Horrible Bosses 2, Vacation, The Flash, but probably what I think is their best work, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. At least in the writing department, their best movie that they made was Game Night, and Game Night and Dungeons & Dragons let me know these guys need to be directing more often. But we have been hearing about this dang Monopoly movie in the works for so long, dude. I think I literally have already done a video where at one point Kevin Hart was set to star in this movie, then don't know what happened there. There was also a completely separate Monopoly movie that was more a biography or the origin story of how Monopoly started, because it turns out Monopoly is one of those ideas that was stolen from someone else. And that alone makes the Monopoly movie probably an interesting biopic. With these writers attached, it's honestly a mixed bag, because like I just read off their resume, some of that stuff you like, some of that stuff you don't like. So it's kind of a toss-up to how this goes. If they direct it, probably have a little bit more optimism. But Monopoly movie, Hasbro's still trying hard to get that made. What do you guys think? Moving on to something that I found really interesting that came up during the week, and that is Disney stopping their Disney Plus animation department. We had here an article with the Hollywood Reporter that let us know Tiana Disney Plus series shelved as Walt Disney Animation abandons long-form streaming content. And when I first saw these headlines, they were a bit confusing because it made it sound like Disney was entirely going to stop making original long-form content for Disney Plus, but actually what they're doing is just stopping Walt Disney Animation, that specific group, from making Disney Plus content. So they're still going to be making animated projects or other things for Disney Plus, but now after what has happened with Moana 2, a show that was then turned into a movie, released in theaters, and made $1 billion, even though I honestly don't hear anyone talk about Moana 2. But you gotta admit, that phenomenon really shaped this decision that we're seeing here, where Disney's like, oh, these properties and characters, if we put them in theaters, they probably would make us a lot more money than just having them on Disney Plus. But unfortunately, because of this decision, there is a lot of people losing their jobs. And even worst of all, the Tiana series that was going to go to Disney Plus is now shelved and not going to be released. And this, I think, is still so much recovering aftermath from the era of COVID. Because, like, can you remember when Warner Brothers decided to release all their theatrical movies on streaming that exact same day? Everybody thought that was going to change the industry forever. And now we are seeing all those habits and faith in streaming kind of back down a little bit, at least with the bigger studios. How do you feel about Disney deciding that they don't need to have departments focusing on so much Disney Plus content and are instead going to keep focus in theaters? Moving on, we got a really cool update in the horror universe. Ready or Not, as you may know, is going to be getting a sequel. I loved that film from Radio Silence. I think it was actually my favorite horror movie of the year it came out, and to now know it's getting a sequel is exciting. And here we have it that Catherine Newton is re-teaming with Radio Silence for Searchlight's Ready or Not 2. Now, couple of things on this. One, Catherine Newton being added on into the movie, great. Think she's a nice actress. Enjoyed her in Abigail. And now her coming alongside Samara Weaving for whatever this adventure is, nice. But it also makes me wonder, dang, then is this not going to be the connected shared universe that was possibly teased in the movie Abigail, where Catherine Newton did star in? Yeah, if you didn't know, if you weren't really keeping up with it, there are small Easter eggs and hints that the movie Abigail that came out is set within the universe of Ready or Not. And those little small hints and teases could have made it so that Melissa Barrera's character could have also shown up with Samara Weaving, and then they have some sort of mission or adventure in the sequel for Ready or Not. But maybe the box office of Abigail changed their minds on that, because unfortunately it didn't make as much money as they were hoping for. Maybe backing away from that idea, and the only reason I say it is because, again, Catherine Newton played a character in Abigail, and now it looks like she'll maybe play a different character in Ready or Not, so kind of ruins that shared universe thing, unless it is connected and she's just playing someone brand new, or it's a prequel before she goes through the things in Abigail. I don't know, but I was honestly kind of looking forward to that universe being shared in, because there was supernatural elements in Ready or Not, obvious big supernatural elements in Abigail, and not that everything needs to be a shared cinematic universe, but it did flesh out the world and make me wonder what else could happen in this universe. So we'll wait and see, but hey, who else do you want attached to the Ready or Not sequel? Sophie Thatcher, please. And well, speaking about Radio Silence and their horror movies, we had the movie they're producing, Scream 7, in the news for something that I honestly saw coming a mile away after all the recent announcements, and that is David Arquette, Dewey, is going to be returning for Scream 7. And boy, oh boy, they just really don't want any surprises or cameos happening in this movie to be a surprise for you. They just want to tell you straight up. That is kind of the insane part about Scream 7, and it's definitely a PR move. They're trying to do everything to reel in people, because I see so many people excited for this film. And again, here, I'm not shaming you if you are, because I know how much this franchise means to some people. But those people excited are like, dude, why are they ruining all the cameos? Stu, Roman, and now Dewey. Like, these are dead characters, and they're popping up in Scream 7. Even the actor who played Roman mentioned that his role in the movie is pretty small.
The first few Screams is directing this one, and he wanted me to come back and play a small part, even though he died.
So why would they even reveal a small role ahead of time? And it's just because they want to do as much hype and excitement for this. There was a time when Scream 5 and 6 were coming out, they actually did a pretty good job of attempting to hide a lot of secrets and things in the movie from people, but obviously channels like me and fans scourging around, we found little details, but that was always through little leaks. This is like huge stuff just put out there by them going, please watch our movie. But putting that stuff aside, I mean, it begs the question. Dewey did die in Scream 5. He is not going to be returning or coming back to life. I even firmly believe that for Stu and Roman. So the real explanation will probably either be flashbacks, showing us things that happened before he passed away, or what the current rumors are that whoever is Ghostface in this movie, they are using modern day AI technology to deep fake a lot of dead characters so that they can mess with Sydney and probably Gale. That's what I think they're going to do with a lot of the killers that are returning in this movie, is that they're going to be haunting Sydney, maybe even through like FaceTime calls, and the killer will be using what tech is available to them today, AI, which, yeah, anybody can make AI of whatever they want. It's a way more advanced version of the voice talker that they had in Scream 3. So just imagining a scene where like Sydney has to FaceTime through who she thinks is Stu alive, that could really mess with her. But Sydney isn't the only character in this movie. We have Gale, and we know she is still hurting and suffering from the loss of Dewey. If she also happens to get a FaceTime call of him in stress or saying he's alive, that would be such mental torture for Gale. It leaves the door open for some exciting possibilities and real psychological torture, but I just hope this AI stuff is handled with care. It does really seem like they're not going to use actual AI in the movie, but just have the actors play the roles and say they're using AI, which I think is a big difference. I just want it all to make sense and actually be part of a really cool motive by the end of Scream 7, because so far it just seems like they're doing everything to nostalgia bait into this film, and history has shown with other franchises, sometimes that's just a cheap way to get the fans happy. But I'd love to know what you guys do. You think they're actually going to bring Dewey back to life? There's some people who really think that they're just going to completely ignore Scream 5 and 6. I doubt that, with Radio Silence being producers and the writer of Scream 5 and 6 writing Scream 7, I doubt that writer is going to want to just ignore all his previous work. He's going to want to honor what he wrote before. But you guys let me know. Curious to hear what you think. Something else popping up. The Russo brothers doing a lot of interviews because they've got their movie Electric State coming out. And in these interviews, they're just dropping little nuggets about Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. So let's talk about a few of them. One is they talk about how Robert Downey Jr. is taking the role of Victor Von Doom extremely seriously. They say here that he's writing backstories, costume ideas. He just loves really rich three-dimensional characters, and I think he sees a real opportunity here with the character. I know the fans right now are still 50-50 on whether this was a good or a bad choice, going back to that easy nostalgia bait to cheap fans into coming in. Happening here. But I am more open-minded than some, and I hope it again leads to strong story potential, and when it's all said and done, it actually makes sense and it doesn't feel lazily done. And it is cool to hear Robert Downey Jr. is taking the role that seriously and trying to create something. That's the one thing I would hate, if his Doctor Doom feels a lot like just evil Tony Stark. I don't want him to have the same mannerisms, way of talking. I do want him to feel like a completely different character. Something else that I did find interesting is, I guess someone asked them approximately, how long do you think Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars will be? And they actually answered. They said Doomsday would probably run 2 hours and 30 minutes, while Secret Wars will definitely be a 3-hour movie. And I expected no less. That seems like a pretty fair runtime for Doomsday if they hit that. With Secret Wars, buddy old boy, you could hit the 3-hour and 30-minute mark, and I still feel like, is that enough time? Take more time what you need. That movie is gonna be insane if it lives up to the hype. All the characters and people that'll be introduced in there, make it the first 4-hour movie. I won't mind. So that's all nice to hear, and I mean, if things are going according to plan, they should be filming kind of right now or within the next couple weeks, so we should be getting a lot more rumors and casting announcements. It's still so kind of funny to me that there was major like concept art and leaks that just kind of came and went. Nobody has even addressed or even asked them about it, so I guess maybe there's a wonder now if that stuff was even real or it was purposely done by Marvel. Let me know what you guys think about all that. Moving on, Shrek. I still got that green ogre in my mind, and one of the things I really want to know about is, what is this multiverse plot they got going on? Now, for those of you guys who haven't kept up, the Scooper account, My Time to Shine Hello, that I've mentioned before, doesn't have the best reputation. They used to, but they have gotten really spotty in where they just report on everything that they get from their sources, and when they do that, it's really hurt their track record of being right. But they were the first person to report Zendaya would be in Shrek 5, and we actually found out it's because they reported that they decided to release the teaser for Shrek 5 months early, because it was originally supposed to be released in December, but since the Zendaya thing got leaked out, they released it recently. And so with all their other scoops maybe still being up in the air, I kind of tend to believe them on the Shrek stuff, because it seems like they have a good source on that, and they gave us some more details on this multiverse plot. So they said here, in Shrek 5, Shrek, Donkey, and Shrek's daughter visit another universe. This isn't like Shrek 4. It's not an alternate timeline. Instead, this new universe will feel familiar to us. Any guesses? And okay, mind is erasing to what that could mean. Now I kind of understand what they meant by it'll deal with the multiverse, kind of, because it looks like our characters are going to be traveling to a completely different universe, and whatever this universe is, it will feel familiar to us. Now, my biggest fear, and the thing they better not do, this might ruin Shrek 5 for me, is if they come to our real world. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of, and that's the fear I had. It's literally what, like, the Smurfs movie is doing right now. If we see Shrek the Ogre and them being thrown into our universe, like New York or Louisiana, something like that, oh man, how my ogre has fallen off. So that's biggest fear, but it could be other things. This is within the Universal world, within DreamWorks. Are they going to be traveling to the How to Train Your Dragon universe, the Trolls universe, the Wild Robot universe? What is this alternate world that will feel familiar to us, and is that even something you would want to see? I saw people really joking around that they're gonna pop up in like the Madagascar universe, and I'm like, what are we doing? I don't know, but I mean, there's something there. Like, the real thing I would wish could happen, but probably isn't able to because of rights issues. The Shrek universe lives in a world with a lot of copyright-free characters like Snow White, Cinderella, and all these classic princesses that we now associate with Disney, but they are only able to be used in the Shrek movies because of parody, and because those characters have been around for such a long time, anybody can make a Snow White to Cinderella movie. They just can't copy what Disney did. It would be so funny if they somehow did get permission and they went to the Disney version of a lot of these fairy tale creatures. Maybe it's an alternate world where all these fairy tale creatures are more faithful or slightly different to what we know. Honestly, not really sure, but I'm intrigued by it. I do want to know what this familiar universe is. The other big thing to note, though, is they say here the main travelers, which is a big part of the Shrek movie, is going to be Shrek, Donkey, and Shrek's daughter. Ah, man. This was kind of one of the small issues I had with Shrek 3 back when that came out, is that Shrek went on this adventure with Shrek and Donkey and Fiona's cousin, voiced by Justin Timberlake, but Fiona took a back seat and then we were jumping back and forth from random characters. Oh, so Fiona's probably going to take a back seat for this story, and not even just her, but her two sons, Fergus and Farkle, are probably going to be left home, and we'll cut back and forth to whatever Shrek, Donkey, and the daughter are doing, and then seeing Fiona, I don't know, having a fun time with her boys. So that really also goes to show you why they made a big deal out of Zendaya's voice casting, because the other siblings of Shrek are just going to play such small parts in the movie that we're only going to be cutting back to them a couple of times. And also in this group, no mention of Puss in Boots going along on that adventure. So that kind of sucks, because like his movie led into him meeting his friends. I don't know, we'll wait and see. Obviously there's still a lot of time and I don't want everything ruined, but just with that teaser, I'm excited to know more about Shrek 5. Let me know your guys' guesses and theories based on this subplot. And well, that is all movie news we currently have going on right now. I want to thank so much for taking time my day to watch me talk some movie news. You guys are absolutely fantastic. It means a lot to me. You spend your day watching me. Don't forget to like, subscribe. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.